Welcome to my podcast, From Divorce to Divinely Designed. I am your host, Michelle Wright, a spiritual mentor and guide for women navigating the full arc of rebuilding a life after divorce. Whether you're in the middle of the hardest chapter, opening your heart to love again, or rebuilding a blended family, you are in the right place. In this podcast, we explore how this is not happening to you, but how it is happening for you. Let's begin. Welcome to my podcast, From Divorce to Divinely Designed. And I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to talk about some concepts and ideas that were shared with me through a class. My beautiful business coach, Christy Yael, at This Sacred Life. And they align with different teachers, Marianne Williamson, Neville Goddard, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. For me this week, there were many different ways these teachings helped me to understand more deeply my life, my role in my life, my healing, and how I am connected and shifting and changing. It gave me specifics through the beautiful analogies and the next steps of how I could change them. And I want to share this with you for how in your life you might feel disconnected from your heart, your soul, source, your life even. I see this connected in the evolution of divorce throughout my life, in recognizing and reclaiming love, that I was worthy of receiving love, and what I needed to do in order to get into that vibration. And even in the blending, that sacred blend of holding a worthiness and a belief that we could come together. Today, I'm going to be focusing on talking about these three different teachings and the connection to divorce itself, different parts of divorce. And I'm going to be sharing stories as I came into realizing more deeply what this meant for me. The first concept that I'm going to talk about is not new, and I've heard it. I've heard it in my youth, connected to source, connected to God, and that God is outside of me and God is inside of me. It's this idea of source energy creator. The creator is outside and the creator is us simultaneously at the same time. And the analogy that Christy shared this week in our class was about the ocean and the wave. And I fully fell into it. I think perhaps because I love oceans. I love watching, just sitting on a beach and watching the waves roll in. I like taking a moment on my paddleboard and just laying on the waves in the ocean. And so I could feel it. I could intellectually understand it. And my soul just went, this is a truth. So the ocean is source, is God, is creator, universe, whatever word you want to have. It's this wholeness. It's the completeness of the collective. And we are each a wave, uniquely designed. We are a wave, just like mystical teacher Carolyn Meese talks about. We came with our contract to be this unique wave. And this unique wave is going to encounter other waves, other vessels in the ocean, other debris. And we know this as this wave. As this wave, we are uniquely ourselves and yet part of this ocean. And we cannot exist without this connection. Our life is really about this deep acknowledgement that as the wave, we feel disconnected. And our entire life is about how do we understand and connect with the ocean. And this is for me what the rub is, because a wave is never disconnected from the ocean. It is part of it. You cannot separate them. To separate them means that, well, the ocean doesn't act like an ocean and the wave doesn't act like a wave. They work together simultaneously, connected. And in divorce, what I find happens is that might be a ship that you collide with in the night as a wave, just to go with this analogy. And in divorce, you stop understanding how you're connected to the divine. And in that, I know myself, I have felt unworthy. I have felt shame. I have felt anxiety because I wasn't enough. All of these things. And it came from connecting with my tribe because no one else in my family was divorced. It came from connecting in a religion that really frowned upon divorce and that I wasn't doing enough. It came from a system that said I, as a woman, needed to give more. That patriarchal teaching that I needed to give everything and expect nothing in this marriage. And I didn't. I chose instead to recognize that we were not meant to be together. Those two husbands, we just were not meant to be together. But I do believe in the mystic Carolyn Meese's idea that we were meant to meet, and our intersection was meant for each of us to evolve, to look at ourselves in a different way. It is for us. It is not happening to us. It is for us, for my alignment, for my evolution, for my expansion. And it's only as I trust that I, as this wave, intersecting with this other wave, am part of an ocean and so are they, that I really detach from judgment, from anger, from this duality of good, bad. I'm good, they're bad. And I recognize that we are both part of the same ocean. We are both souls. We are both connected to Source. And I might not be the one to love and nurture that Source, and that's okay. It might be someone else. And to recognize that as Source for each other, this experience is sacred, and it's meant for us to evolve. And if you haven't, I would take a moment to imagine yourself as a wave and connected to ocean. As you visualize this and you feel it in your body, do you feel anxiety, fear? Do you feel connection, disconnection? And what is it telling you about your expansion, your healing, your release, your becoming? I know when I stayed in anger, frustration, and felt disconnected from other waves, from Source, the more isolated I became, the more fearful I became. And for me, when I became anxious and fearful, I became very angry as a protective mechanism. And it wasn't great times. It wasn't great days. And sometimes that pain was so real, so deep, I just numbed myself with food, endless entertainment. So it might be hours and hours of books, hours and hours of TV shows. None of those are bad. But when I used them so that I could not be present in my body, in my mind, in my soul, that's where it didn't serve me. It's like anything. If you have too much of something, or what are you doing and is it serving you? It was not serving me. And so is that the same for you? If you feel this disconnection, are you finding as you look at that you might feel disconnected? You might have fear, anxiety, and ways that you're numbing yourself and keeping yourself separated. And if you do, I want you to put your hand on your heart with such deep compassion, self-forgiveness, and grace. Because this is happening for you. This is an opportunity for you to shift, for you to be curious, for you to reconnect with yourself, your soul, and your connection to Source, and the joy and light and wholeness that comes with that. And that experience is so uniquely different for everyone. Trust what this call, what this feeling, what this experience is for you. The next teaching that we talked about were I am codes. And what this means is the power of the words I am. Now, I first experienced I am through scripture. And I am the light. I am the way. And it's interesting because now, separate from religion, Christ consciousness, this idea of light, of love, as an ascended master, Christ himself, sharing the I am, the power of I am words. And recognizing that when we're feeling disconnected from Source, when we're feeling as a wave disconnected from the ocean, our I am might be I am separate. I am alone. I am unworthy. And those words that we say silently in our hearts, that we say out loud. And I used to say, if I could just only be someone, just not me. Which I can tell you, anyone at that time in my life did not know I was thinking those words. Because this is when I was stuck. This is when I was isolated, not connected to Source. And I understood that I needed to start treating myself, having my self-talk change. Because the power of words, the power of I am worthy, I am loved, I am love, I am powerful. And it is the changing of these codes, these I am codes, that shifts. When I'm in the middle of the divorce and I remember that, I would say the words I had was, I am shameful. I am wrong. I am broken. I am not enough. I am hurt. And I am never going to heal. And that's when I was in the darkest. That's when I would lie awake at night and feel numb and not know what to do. And slowly, I started to create different experiences that let me change the power of my words. And words are so powerful. We see that. You can just look at YouTube videos that talk about, they look at water and what water looks like, snowflakes. They've done plants. When you speak words to them, words of love, words of affirmation, words of beautiful, joyful power, it is gorgeous. When you speak words of anger, hatred, dislike, any of those, then it is destructive. It is destructive to the plants. It is destructive to the snowflake itself, and it's destructive to your own heart and your own soul. And so really consciously shifting your words is important. And one way is to shift your I am. So for myself, I started catching myself when I would say things that were negative, my negative self-talk, because I would never say that to another human. I would never say, oh my God, you are so dumb. You are just ridiculous. The things that I would say to myself, I would never say to another child, another parent, another colleague, another person at a store. Never. Because I don't believe in that. And yet, I would say them to myself. And as I healed, I recognized this is about control, perfectionism. It is about so many of those pieces. There is a beautiful book by Nicole LaPrera, which talks about healing your inner child. Her work is amazing. You can look her up. And it really is about shifting and changing how you speak to yourself. And so I want you to really explore that. What are your I am statements? When you speak to yourself, what does it sound like? And what do you believe? If you say, I am worthy, I am loved, I am powerful, do you believe it? And how can you get to those positive places? What is the I ams that you are saying? And maybe you were like me and saying very destructive I ams. I deserve this horrible life. I deserve whatever is coming to me. And when you connect with this ocean, when you connect with Source, Source is ultimately about love, expansion, and experiences. Every experience is equal. It's not good or bad. But there isn't a deserving bad things and a deserving good things. It's not a process of merit. It is just connecting and being. So moving back to how is this happening for you? This experience of divorce may be happening for you to recognize your I am statements and help you shift into a more healed and whole way of speaking. I am healed. I am enough just as I am. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of kindness. I am worthy of greatness. I am loved and loving. I am whole. I am complete. I would stop this and take a moment to take out your journal and play with these words that you speak silently to yourself. They're the words that we say out loud, and there's the words that we talk, that silent talk inside of ourselves. Start to observe. Start to shift. Start to change. As you come into alignment and love with your authentic self, with your heart and soul, connected with Source, you as the wave connected to the ocean, you will feel a sense of shift in your I ams and how you speak about yourself. The third teaching that really had me come together was this sense of Dharma, or life purpose. So your sacred path, why you're here. And I believe I've had many sacred paths. I know as an educator, a teacher, an educational leader, I have felt that passion, that fullness and completeness in teaching and learning and the personal development of another colleague, of another teacher, another principal. And I have been so consumed in such a beautiful, creative way in helping them connect to their own gifts, their own art and science of teaching. And that was definitely a sacred path and a purpose. And as I've shifted in my life, as I've become 57, a grandmother, a mother, and I've retired, there's a different passion coming. And it is this passion. First, it came with Lead with Your Soul, my spiritual awakening to oracle cards and tarot, and understanding the world through an energetic perspective. Mystical teachers like Carolyn Meese. And each one of those gave me a different truth to listen into, and I absolutely loved it. And if I am to look at myself as this wave in the ocean, connected to a purpose, connected to this collective, and connected to some contracts that I came down here, I recognize that my journey through divorce, through blending, through reclaiming a sense of self and wholeness to love has been a sacred path for me. We don't just have one. You can have one that is tied to your work. You can have one that is tied to hobbies. And you start to see the sacredness in your journeys. I have seen some sacredness come in how they help others in illness. It is beautiful. And putting them together, you start to realize that you as the wave, you have a purpose for being there. You have a purpose for being present. It is not just chance that you are this wave in this ocean at this time. It is not just chance that you intersect with different waves or different shifts in the night. There is a sacred purpose, and it is this curiosity and belief that starts to come in for me that I was meant to meet both of my husbands that I divorced. And I was meant to find my way through that to my wholeness. And I continue to journey this in my blending, in all aspects of my life, in my relationships. And as I shift and understand that I am this at this point in my life, and it has shifted through divorce, through looking for love, through blending, continues to evolve and expand. And that is my life path. That is my soul's path. That is my sacred journey. And that's what I love about this work, is that when I work with a woman in reclaiming you, in reclaiming love, in the sacred blend, I'm helping them recognize how they are still connected to Source. I am helping them recognize how they want to speak of themselves powerfully and create I am statements that vibrate with where they want to move towards their highest potential, their most authentic self. And in the sacred blend, this idea of all these waves coming together, and we are all part of Source energy. We are all part of this ocean. It did not happen randomly, chaotically. It happens with purpose. And how do we support each other in our own individual alignments and the collective alignment? How do we do this? in our blending. Each journey is different. And as I look back in divorce, I had so much healing to do. And I did. I had been to therapy, and therapy definitely has its place, and it is completely adjacent to a spiritual journey. And it is this exploration of the way you think, of energetics, of the different spiritual tools that help you even expand further and deeper. And that has been my experience. I have begun to understand myself in astrology and human design and recognize that there is no mistakes. In that archetypal language, I see myself. I see what I can become in my fullest, and I see the challenges that will help me grow to get there. Divorce is really hard and challenging. Whether you are the one who is initiating the divorce, whether you are the one contemplating divorce, whether you are the one reeling from having divorce thrust upon you. Either way, this journey, you as the wave in the ocean, is an opportunity because it is happening for you. It is an opportunity for you to be curious about yourself, your life, your connection to source, your I am thoughts and statements, and how this helps align you with your sacred life path. There is a sacredness to this journey. And I get emotional when I think about it because I didn't always believe that. And that's where I reach out to you. If you don't believe it, if you don't understand it, I reach out to you. Connect with me. Come into my free offerings, come into my mentorship. That is the power of this spiritual journey, is to go from that broken, disconnected life to a wholeness, connected with the universe, and moving towards your sacred life path. My prayer is that these words touch you. My prayer is that you take time to visualize and think about these concepts for yourself. Where do you get triggered? Be curious. Where do you have a deeper aha and you lean into it? Enjoy it all. This is what we're here for. This is what we signed up for. And this is our sacred life path. But remember, this is not happening to you. It is happening for you. Until next time, so many blessings, my friend. Thank you for being here today. If something in this episode landed for you, trust that. It found you for a reason. If today's episode moved something in you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. That is how we find each other. You can connect with me on my website, michellewright.co, and on Instagram at michellewright.co. And if you're ready to go deeper, a free connection call is the first step. Because this is not happening to you. It is happening for you. Until next time.